Hello, welcome to lecture 19 of CS531 Memory Systems and Architecture.
Today we'll discuss about the DRAM memory access protocols. That means how to access a DRAM memory.
I have covered the basics of main memory before midsem. So here I am advising you that before start watching new lectures, you please revise the basic concepts of main memory from the lecture that I have uploaded before midsem because that part is very important. Without that, you cannot continue here with this new lectures. There is another important point here that from now onwards when I'll explain the concept of main memory, it may be possible that sometime I'll use some previously recorded videos, mostly the videos from my previous semester, not the entire one, but maybe some part I make take from the previous lecture. So during these lectures, whatever, if you find any announcement regarding term paper quiz and all, you have to ignore those. Remember, for your current semester courses, any quiz, any term paper related announcement, I will send separate mail or separate post in Google Classroom. Don't follow any instructions regarding quiz date, time, and term paper evaluation date or time, etc. from these lectures. But yes, except this, during the lecture, if you find any instruction based on which is important for your exam, which is not important for your exam, then that is valid for you also.
And for today's lecture, I'm recommending you a book. This book I'm recommending you for today's lecture. And the old version of this book is available in internet. I'll share you the link of this book, but it is the old version, but it is enough for you for this course. So we'll start our today's discussion with this basic main memory. Assume that this is a main memory or whatever concept I've discussed in last class, that is a main memory has DIM, has rank, has channel, has many banks. Assume that everything is inside this device and this is your main memory. So if you remember in my last class, I said that in a main memory or in a DRAM bank, what we can do if we want to read a data, first of all, we have to activate a row. If we activate a row, then all content of all these rows will be available in the row buffer, and then we can read a particular column for it. So the question here is, we'll ask many questions on we want to do. The first question is how this DRAM device know when to activate a row and when to read from column, when to pre-charge it. For example, suppose the row buffer is storing a content of row number 1, and suppose now I want to read row number 2. Then as I explained in last class that in this situation, first of all, we have to pre-charge the row buffer. So how DRAM should know that, okay, now I have to pre-charge, now I have to read. So all this depend on some commands. If this DRAM device receives a row access command, then it will activate a row, and once it activates a row, data will be available in the row buffer. Once this DRAM device receives a pre-charge command, then it know what to do. It will automatically pre-charge the row buffer. So that means everything. So how DRAM device knows what to do, it depends on the commands. Once this DRAM device receives the command, it know what to do with it. And who send this command? The command is sent by a controller. So actually main memory has a controller. It's called DRAM controller. So DRAM controller sends some command through the command bus. For example, suppose I want to activate a row, so the DRAM controller will send a activate command through command bus to the DRAM device. Once this activate command reaches DRAM device, it will activate the row. This controller is also connected with some data bus. So these data bus will move data from controller to DRAM device and the other side also. So that this part is clear, right? What I said, that controller sends a command to DRAM device and DRAM device perform those commands. So one thing is very clear. You have to understand, remember it, that controller only sends the command. Controller no need to send any specific instruction about how to execute this command. It's like that. So for example, suppose there is a robot who knows how to move forward, how to move backward, and you are using a remote controller, suppose. So that remote controller is the controller of that robot. So if you just press forward, then that command will go to the robot, and now robot knows how to move forward. if from the remote, if you send an instruction that move backward, then that instruction or that command will forward to the robot. And after receiving this command, robot knows how to move backward. The same thing here for DRAM device. Once controller send a command, DRAM device knows how to execute this command. Sometimes execution of this command has many steps, but all this step or everything how to execute this command, DRAM device knows. The next concern is how controller knows once it send one command, after how many time it should send another command. This is very important. For example, suppose you have a robot and there are 2 points. Suppose point 1 is here and point 2 is here. And there is a robot whose only purpose is to move from point 1 to point 2, which is move forward. And from there is another command which is called move backward, that is should move from point 2 to point 1. This is the only purpose this robot should do. And now in the suppose you are first you have given instruction to this robot that move forward, that means the robot started moving in this direction to reach point 2. But suppose after reaching here you have given this robot a command move backward, so what it will do, it will immediately start moving backward from here. That means it has not reached point 2. So what is the mistake here? Mistake here is you should know the time duration which is required for a robot. Once you give a command move forward from this point, you should know that how much time it's need to reach point 2. You should wait up to this point, and then only you can give the second command that move backward. The same thing is true here for DRAM controller also. Once DRAM controller is given the command, controller should know that how many time it should wait before giving another command, so that there should not be any uh, inconsistency here. For example, there is a very easy example of inconsistency is, suppose controller has given a read activate command. So activate command means this command will reach here and it will activate a row. And the once activate a row, this data will be available in the row buffer, but it takes some time. Assume that before while it is doing this, and suppose the time is suppose 20 millisecond, but before this 20 millisecond the controller has sent another request to read data from the row buffer. So what will happen at that time? Maybe the data, this the first command of the command who is supposed to transfer the data to the row buffer, maybe that command is still executing, it is not completed, and now the second command reads and now it is trying to read data from row buffer. So there will be an inconsistency there, so that must be handled. That's why today we will discuss about some basic commands based on which we can access the device, the DRAM device. That's why it's called memory access protocol, and the different timing constraint which is for these commands. So both the basic commands and the timing constraints are important for today's discussion. So for most of our today's discussion, we'll use this simplified DRAM device. So why I'm saying it is simplified, because here there is no multiple ranks, there is no multiple chips. You can see there is only one chip, and in this chip there are multiple banks. But again, we'll only concentrate on a single bank, that is DRAM array, the first DRAM array. We'll only concentrate on this DRAM array, or you can say only concentrate on this bank. And there are row decoders here, there are column decoders here, and you can see there is a input output gating or read data latch write drivers. You can say this, I will say this as input output drive. As I said in my last lecture, that in a particular chip there are multiple banks, and all the banks share a common bus to send data, so that you can see this input output device is common to all the banks. But sense amplifier is each bank has its own sense amplifier. See, or sense amplifier is individual for each bank, but all these banks is sharing this input output device. And this is data bus. This is data bus. So row decoder, column decoder, bank, input output device, data bus, all these things are here in this simplified DRAM device. One more thing you have to understand here is, we here in this first slide will try to explain a generic command. Means what is command here? Mainly any command the controller is sending to DRAM device, more, the purpose of this controller is to do something with data in DRAM. For example, if it is a activate row command, then what it will do, activate row command will activate a row and then data will move from row to the row buffer. If there is a pre-charge command, then it will delete the data from row buffer and it will again move to half BTD to each sense amplifier in row buffer. So ultimately, any command is doing something with data in DRAM devices, in DRAM device or in the bank. So now a command can have multiple phase. For example, here we are dividing into four phase. Suppose a command, first of all, the command will travel, and this is travel through this command and address bus, and then it will reach the device. And then another phase, for example, suppose it is a activate row command. The first of all command will travel through this bus, address and data bus. The second phase will be, it will activate this row and all data will be available in row buffer. This second phase, you can say it is a bank utilization phase because it is working or it is doing something inside the bank. Next phase, you can say that device utilization or drive IO drive utilization. That means in this phase, data will come from sense amplifier to this drive. This is called drive utilization. This is the third phase. Fourth phase, you can say this communicating data through the database. So a generic command may work in four different phases, but it's not necessary that every command will follow all these four phases. For example, here this is this type of diagram or this type of example will use in other slides also. For any command, this is example of generic command. So you have to understand that for any command, if controller sends a command, then the time required for any command to reach from here to here is considered as TCMD. This TCMD time is time to reach a command from controller to DRAM device. Once a command reach DRAM device, we say the command is issued. So again, try to remember it. Once a command reaches the DRAM device, we say that the command is issued or the command is asserted. So this is the time, this is called TCMD. So this time TCMD is required for any command because any command is sending by the controller to the DRAM device. That means every command has to travel through this path. So this TCMD time is required for any command. After this, if we discuss about activate row command. So activate row command will take TCMD time to reach the DRAM device. Once it reaches the DRAM device, you know what activate row command do? It will activate a row and then data will be available to row buffer. So what it is doing? It is doing something inside the bank. So that part is called bank utilization. That means it will work in this phase. It will work in this phase. Okay, that's it. Row activation is has no other work because row activation work on data is in sense amplifier. Row activation done. Okay, now suppose the second there is another command, read column. Read column means that this column address will come through this, and through column decoder column address will go here, and send data from sense amplifier will be coming here. So doing this, what we are doing, first of all, we are accessing the bank. So bank utilization is still there, and from sense amplifier data will come to this input output device. Now it is called device utilization. And the next phase, maybe data will come out from this bus, and this phase it is also using data bus. So you can see that not every command will use all these phases, but every command will use the fast phase. That means every command has to travel from here to here, and it will take TCMD time through the command and address bus. So this phase, this is common for every command, and after this, these three phase is not common for every command. And also it is not like this, that every time this phase will come and then this phase will come. It is not like this. That we'll see in the next slide. So this is another example or another diagram of a simplified DRAM having only one chip with four banks, but we'll only concentrate on the first bank. And this is the controller, so all the commands will be sending from this controller. And what are the common commands that we'll discuss? So with this diagram, we'll try to understand all these commands. Row access command, that is activate row, column read command, column write command, pre-charge command, and refresh command. Now at this moment, just pause this video and try to understand all these things. all these commands written here. You should know the purpose of each command based on the previous lecture. Why it is row access command is required, how row access command is performed, what is precharge, what is the requirement of precharge, and how precharge is performed, what is refresh, why refresh is required. Everything is already discussed. So if anything is not clear here, then you have to see the lecture one first. So we'll move from here. So first, let us discuss about row access command. You know what is row access command, right? So to row access command, first of all, this controller will send the command from here to here. So it will take some time. That time I already said that it's a fixed time, TCMD. Once this controller send this read command here, it will activate a row. Once activate a row, data will be available in sense amplifier, and then it will discharge the data from this row. That means all the DRAM cells available here are discharged, but automatically after some time, this data will be recharged, but it takes some time. So all these things are performed when you go for a row access command. And that's why I said the purpose of controller is only to send the command. Once this command is given to the device knows what to do. First of all, it will move this data from here to here, doing this row will be discharged, but after some time automatically this row will be charged. How this is charging, and why I'm saying automatically for this, you please refer to my first lecture and see the how sense amplifier is using for reading and writing data from a DRAM cell. Now we'll discuss about the second command, column read command. So we know that what column read command means. Column read command means we want to read a column content from DRAM device or a DRAM bank. But we know that if we want to read a column content, then first of all the complete row should be available in sense amplifier. So this means there should be a scheduling thing is must be there in controller. That means controller should not issue a a column read command before issuing a row access command from the for the same row. Otherwise, the proper data will not be available in sense amplifier. So now we'll only concentrate on column read command. So how column read command will execute so before assuming that the data is a proper data is already there in sense amplifier, that means entire row is in sense amplifier. So what controller will do to execute column read command? First of all, controller will send the column address to this, and this column address will reach here, and then after this column decoder will decode it, and this corresponding column address will be reached here, and based on this column address some content of this sense amplifier or the appropriate content of this sense amplifier will be available in input output drive. And then from this input output drive, this data will be sent to the DRAM controller through this data bus. So this is how a column read command operates. So you can see that there are multiple phases of this command. This controller just send a column read command here. Based on this command, first of all, this command some a particular column from this sense amplifier is transferred in input output drive, and then from the next phase from input output drive, the same data is transferred to the data bus to the for the DRAM controller. So there are many phases for this column read command, but all these phases are internally managed by DRAM device. Controller just need to send the column read command. Once this command reached in the DRAM device, rest of the things get automatically performed in DRAM device. Now we'll discuss about column write command. How column write command operates. As I said in last class, when we say column read command, then data move through this direction, and we say column write command, data moves from this direction. Also, uh, when I explained sense amplifier in last class, I also explained that how sense amplifier can be used to write something to a DRAM cell. The same thing we'll do here. The column write command is, first of all, the corresponding column address will be sent through this line, and based on this device will know that the data coming through this bus should be written in which column. That we should know first of all. And suppose this is the new data coming through this bus, and from this bus the data will come here, and assume that this is not the data of entire row. This is data of a particular column, and which particular columns data that column address is already sent through this column address. So now this data will be new data will be available in sense amplifier, And as I said in my first class, that if you want to write something, for example, if you want to write 1 to the DRAM cell, then somehow you have to convert this sense amplifier to stable state 1. If you want to write something, write 0 in a DRAM cell, then somehow you have to convert the associated sense amplifier to stable state 0. So by doing this, if I convert this sense amplifier either in stable state 1 or stable state 0 based on this new data, then automatically after some time this data will be loaded in the proper appropriate row. So this is how we write something in DRAM. Pre-charge. I think there is nothing new to explain pre-charge. You already know the purpose of pre-charge. I'll just quickly explain. For example, in this situation, suppose in this situation, I'm assuming that the content of row 1, 2, sorry, I'm numbering row from 1. So 1, this is row number 2. So at this situation, content of row number 2 is available in sense amplifier. So if I want to read now column number 3, row number 3, a column from row number 3, then first of all, we have to pre-charge this sense amplifier. And how the necessity of pre-charge means converting each sense amplifier in this row buffer in half VDD mode that I have already explained. What do you think? How refresh is performed in DRAM? Okay, so the answer is to refresh each row, you have to just apply activate row command. If you activate a row, then this content of this row will be available here in sense amplifier, and then as I said, automatically after some time this data will be again charged in bitline in the row or all the cells in the row. So to do this, to refresh a row, you just need to activate this line. Once you activate it, data will come here, and while this data will come here, but since this transistor of each cell is on, and this so automatically charge will be again returned back to the capacitor of each cell. So in this way you can recharge or you can refresh a cell. But now after this, if you want to refresh another row, then again before this you have to go for a pre-charge. So when we are when we are refreshing a DRAM, then refresh and this activate and pre-charge both are required. Combining activate and pre-charge, you can refresh any row. Next we'll discuss here is timing constraint. I also explained the importance of timing constraint, that suppose a controller issued a command, then controller should know that after how many time it should issue the next command. So these timing constraints are very important. So first of all, we'll discuss the timing constraint for row access command. So I already explained the row access command. How row access command is executed? First of all, a command will be sent from controller to this, and this time is TCMD. That I said, this time is TCMD is common for any command. Any command, time required for any command to reach from controller to DRAM device is called TCMD, T command. Once this command reach here, we say the command is issued. After the command issuing the command, after issuing a row access command, it will activate a row, and the content of this row will be available in sense amplifier. Once a command is issued, that means once a command is reached the device, after reaching the device, doing all this activity, that means activating this row and transferring the content from here to sense amplifier, this take TRCD time. This time is called TRCD or rest to cache delay. Sometimes it's also called a row column delay. So this time is called TRCD. So in other way, we can say that once a row access command is issued, that means reach the DRAM device, it will take TRCD time to make the row content available in sense amplifier. But if you remember my previous slide, I said just activating this is the halfway. There is some other works remaining. That means this other work is automatically restoring the data back to the row, and this will perform automatically if you understand, if you know the properties of sense amplifier. So this part, the second part, will be automatically performed after the first part. This is called data restoration or read restoration for this row. It will also take some time, and this time is called TRAS, row access stop. So here it is written TRS. It's not TRS. It's a mistake. It's a typo. It should be TRAS. TRAS. This is row access stop. So what is row access stop? Row access stop is the time from issuing the row access command till the restoration of the row. So if you see this diagram, you can see that this is TRCD time and this is the TRES time. This is a t rest time. So don't think that t rest time is starting from here. That means after this data is available here and then t rest time. No, not like this. T rest time is the complete time. Means time from issuing a read access command till the restoration of the row content. This is called t rest time. This is t rest. Now you can see that trcd is a sub part of t rest. It's a part of t rest. After trcd time, the data is available in sense amplifier, right? Maybe some more time is required to restore the data back to row, but after trcd time, data is available in sense amplifier, which means if controllers want to send column read command, then it can send it after trcd time. But actually it is tcmd plus trcd. Why tcmd? Because tcmd time is required to reach a command from here to here. So a controller can send a data, send the second command, this is read column command, after tcmd plus trcd time. It no need to wait for the complete TRES, because the second part after TRCD time, the next part is automatically restoring this row. This is this can be done independently with this part, this column access part, and normally it's performed independently. Both part, this column read write part, and this part, row restoration part, perform in parallel. So if you see the figure, this diagram properly, then for this row access command, first of all, here controller is issuing a row access command. It will take tcmd time. First of all, this command will travel through the command and address bus, and it will take this much time. This is tcmd time to reach the device. Once it's reached the device, that means this is device. This is DRAM device. Then we say that the command is issued. After issuing the command, it will take trcd time to make the data available here in sense amplifier, and it will take tRES amount of time to restore the data back to this row. So this is what they are explaining here. So you can see here that for the row access command, only two phase it is working. The first phase here is here in command and address bar, and the second phase it is only using the bank utilization. That means, which means that the row access command is only working on bank. It has nothing to do with this part. That's why it is not doing any work in these two phase. That's why I said that when I was explaining the generic command, that every command has multiple phase, but it is not necessary that a command is working on each phase. Now we'll discuss column read command and what the timing constraint with column read command. So as I explained in last slide, that column read can only perform once the content of the corresponding row is already available in sense amplifier. So let us assume this is the ideal situation where the content of row number 2 is already available in sense amplifier. In this case, this controller will send a command here. Controller will send a command here, and with this command it will also send the column address. So first of all, this column will send here, the command will send here this reaching a command from here to here. It will take tcmd time, as I already explained. After this time, this command will be here after reaching the command in DRAM drive, or you can say after issuing the column read command. The time it's required to move the corresponding column from here to the data bus is called, means this is called tcache. Tcache, column access store. That means this time the tcache time is time starting from the time this column read command is issued to the time this data is available to transfer from the through the data bus. This time is called tcache, column address store. And once the data is available, sending the data through the data bus take tbus time. This tbus time is the data transfer time over the data bus. Means any data is, if you want to transfer from through the bus from the device to the controller, or from the controller uh, to the device, it will take t vast amount of time. So I'm again explaining it. The t case time, the column access stove, is starting from the time this column read command is issued to the first data available to transfer in the data bus is called column address access to tcache. And once the data is ready to transfer, transferring the complete data takes t vast amount of time. There is another time here is called tccd, which is internal time. It is included in tbus. So I'm not explaining it. I'm expecting you to read this book by yourself and try to understand what is tccd. So this is an example of read command, how it's actually work. First of all, the controller will send a column read command, so it will take tcmd time and it will travel through the bus to read the device, to reach the device. Once this command reaches the device, that means the command is issued, it will take tcache time to transfer the data or to make the data available for transfer. And once the data is available for transfer, it will take t vast amount of time to transfer the data to the database. So now if you see this command is using working in all the phases. In the first phase, it is sending the command through the command and address bus. In the second phase, it is working in both bank utilization and device utilization. Why? How it is working on bank utilization? Because this sense amplifier is a part of the bank. So moving data from sense amplifier to this input output drive, this is, so doing this, it is using the bank also. So it is working in both bank utilization part and the device utilization part. This working in this part is called device utilization part. And once the data is available here, we need to send the data through the bus. So it is also using the data bus page. So this particular command is working on all the four phases that we discuss in our first slide. So now we'll discuss the timing constraint of column write command. So now column write command means writing something to a particular column of the DRAM device. The first part is, it is necessary that the row access command is first performed. That means suppose we want to write something in this column of this particular row number 1. That means first of all the content of this row should available here in sense amplifier. Or in other way, we can say that this row must be open. That means the transistor of this of every DRAM cell in this row must be on, so that if we want to do if we change something here in sense amplifier, that change must be reflected or restored here. This bus is responsible for any data communication between controller and the DRAM. So now if this controller want to write something to DRAM, then data will be available through this bus, right? And then this bus will send data to this drive, and from through this drive, a particular data, this data will come to this sense amplifier. That means somehow we will change this sense amplifier to a stable state, and that stable state will automatically be restored in this the corresponding cell here if all this row is on, transistor of these cells are on, sorry. So how it works? The first time constant, the time that is required is called TCWD. That is a column write delay. Controller has to send the data through the data bus. So that after issuing the column write command, the time required to send the data by a controller is called column write delay. So after column write delay amount of time, the controller will write the data to the data bus. Or once the data is written to the data bus, we know how much time it will take, a data is taking to communicate through the data bus. That is T burst. That is T burst that I already explained here. So after T burst amount of time, data will be available through this bus here, and from this bus data will be available in input drive. So based on this data input, for example, if a particular bit is 1 here, so the corresponding sense amplifier here should be converted to stable state 1. So based on this, after this, we'll change the sense amplifier correspondingly, either in stable state 1 and stable state 0 based on the new data we want to write. And this new change in sense amplifier will be automatically restored back to the row. So in this way, the new content will be written to the row. But this takes some time. Sorry, means the once we change the states of sense amplifier, and then restoring the data back to the row takes some time, and that time is called write restoration time, that is TWR. So a column write has two parts mainly. It's a three part. See, first of all, column write delay. After this amount of time, after this much time, controller writes the data to the data bus, and after this data will take t vast amount of time to reach that DRAM, and after this it will take write restoration time, TWR time, to restore the data back in the row. So this is the total time required for a column write command, and it is showing here. If you see here, first of all, in this part, this controller is sending a command, column write command. It will take t command time as usual, and then after this the command will be issued. After issuing the command, see, command is issuing here. After issuing the command, the controller will take TCWD time. That means this time, column write delay time. Then after this time, it will write the data to the database. After writing it to the database, see, it is written here in database. After written in database will take t vast amount of time to communicate, to transfer the data from the controller to the memory or DRAM. After reaching it in DRAM, it will take from here, it will take TWR time to go through this part and restoring back it to the row. So this is how a column write command executes or performed in DRAM, and these are the timing constraint. Next, we'll discuss the precharge command. This, as I said, precharge is very easy for you to understand what is precharge and what is the purpose of precharge. You already know. Again, I'm repeating the same thing. Suppose the content of this row, row number 1 is available in Sense Amplifier, and I want to now activate this row. So before doing this, we have to precharge it. So what we do in precharge, we convert every Sense Amplifier available in this row buffer to half VDD mode. That is called precharge, and time required to do so is called precharge time, TRP. What is precharge time? Precharge time is time required, means from the issuing of a precharge command to the completion of a precharge. It's called precharge time, and is showing here. See, precharge time is starting from here. First of all, the precharge command is executed here. First of all, a controller issued a precharge command here in this time. So at this time, a controller issued a precharge command. So it will take TCMD time to reach the command to the device. After reaching the command to the device, we'll say this precharge command is issued. So from the issuing of a precharge command, the time it takes to complete the precharge operation is called TRP. So it will take this amount of time to complete the precharge work or the precharge task. Refresh command. As I already said in last slide, the purpose of refresh and how you can perform a refresh, that also I have already explained. What to do for refresh? To do refresh, you have to use two command. First of all, you have to activate a row. Once you activate a row, the content will be available in Sense Amplifier, and also automatically it will restore it again. That means called read restoration. And in this way, it will completely charge or refresh the entire cell. That's it. If you do this, one row will be refreshed. Now if you want to refresh another row, then you cannot directly do it because the sense amplifier here are not in half VDD mode. They are either in stable state 1 or stable state 2. So first of all, you have to make the convert into half VDD mode. That means you have to pre-charge it. After pre-charging, you can again activate this row, and then in this way you can refresh this row also. So that means if you want to refresh a row, for a refresh a row, you have to perform a pre-charge and you have to perform a activate. And to perform each refresh operation, the time taken is called refresh cycle time. So this is how it works. See the refresh cycle time. So one thing I have not mentioned, I should mention it here first, that it's not when a controller send a refresh command here, it is not always necessary that by receiving one refresh command, the DRAM will refresh only one row. So maybe when the controller send a refresh command here to this DRAM, it will refresh maybe n number of rows, and then it will then this task will be done, and then again after some time when this controller will send another refresh command, it will refresh another n rows. The time that RFC is the time required to execute one refresh command. That means in one refresh command is the DRAM is refreshing more n number of rows, then also it is fine, but the total time is RFC. That means executing one refresh command. In this one refresh command, maybe this DRAM is refreshing multiple rows. So in this, if you see here in this case, this is the total time taken to execute a refresh command. And if you see here, in this time, the DRAM is refreshing two rows. Suppose I'm saying here up to here, the time is up to here. So in this time, it is refreshing two rows. That means when controller is sending a refresh command, is this DRAM is refreshing two rows at a time. So how it is refreshing every row? To refresh the first row, it is activating this, and after activating, it is pre-charging. So what is this time? T rest time. If you remember row activation time, T rest time is required for activation. First of all, it will activate it, and then the restoration time. So total time required here is T rest, that I already explained. After T rest amount of time, you can pre-charge it. So here it is pre-charging time. So this time, this T rest plus TRP, this total time is required to refresh one row. And then as I said, by sending one refresh command here, the DRAM is refreshing two row, then it will start refreshing another row. The next row it will do this and this. So this is how a refresh perform in DRAM. Now in this slide, we'll try to understand what is called read cycle. Suppose there are two access you want to perform in a DRAM. The first access is from row 1 and second access is from row 2. When you will perform the first access, the content of row number 1 will be available in Sense Amplifier. After this, when you want to access the second row, before second row, you have to pre-charge the Sense Amplifier. Otherwise, you cannot activate the second row, right? So this is called a read cycle. So time required to read a row, complete row. After TRCD time, data will be available in Sense Amplifier. TRCD most probably from here to here. This is called C. This is TRCD time. After TRCD time, the column read operation can be performed, and this column read operation needs two times. One is first of all T case time and then T bus time. So both T case and T bus, the time required for both, that means column read command, this time required for column read is performing simultaneously with this data restoration part. That means this time, this T rest time is enough for activating a row, reading the content of a particular column, and also the data restoration. For all this thing, this T rest time is enough. But after T rest time, this reading and this restoration is done, but the content of this row is still available in Sense Amplifier, right? Now, as I say that the next read is from row number 2, row number another row. Suppose another row. Suppose from this row, the next read is from this row. We cannot directly activate this row because the content of previous row is already in Sense Amplifier, so we have to pre-charge it. We have to pre-charge it. That's why this is called read cycle. That means if every time you are reading a new row, if you every time you try to read a new row, the total time required to read access a row is actually T rest plus pre-charge time, because both time is required, because without pre-charging you cannot activate start reading another row. So this is the complete read cycle. The write cycle is almost same as read cycle. It is easy to understand if you have understood the concept of write cycle. The only difference here is in the second phase, once this data is available in Sense Amplifier, instead of reading it from here, we are writing something to this row. So what we will do first time of if you see here, first of all, we this once the row activation command will be given by this controller, issued by this controller. So after issuing the row activation command, this data from here will be available to here, and time required is TRCD, that you already know. After this, since data is available here, then we'll perform this write operation. To write this operation, we need this TCWD plus T bus time, because TCWD is the time after which the controller will write the data to the data bus, and then it will take T bus amount of time to travel data and make available data to this device or this DRAM, and then again TWR time is required to restore the data back to the row. So this is the total time, and as I explained in the previous slide, this thing, this part and this part is performed simultaneously with restoration part. So T rest plus the pre-charge time is again here is write cycle also. So read cycle and write cycle is the same thing here. So there are some homework for you. What I am expecting from you is that read these two sections from the book I have mentioned in my first slide. That is 11 section 11.1 and 11.2. So that's it from for today.
Thank you for watching this video.